So we've used the colour replacement option to replace the colour of the dress and also some of the wall and even some paint in her eyes and hair, poor girl. So we can fix that in a little bit, but let's just finish off selecting the rest of the dress, and to do that we're going to use another colour replacement tool called the colour replacement tool. So that's very similar to the command we've just used, but this is a brush based tool. If you select that, set it to sample once, just so that it samples the pixels we click on initially and it doesn't keep changing once it gets over the skin or the background, and leave limits set to contiguous, and a tolerance of 30 is a little bit too strong. Let's take that down to about 19 or 20 so that it doesn't spread too far out of the initial sample. Control plus to zoom in, and let's just hold down the Alt key just to sample. You can see the eyedroppers appeared. Let's just grab some of that foreground green just to make the foreground colour very similar, and then we can use the right square bracket to get a larger brush, or of course you could change the size up here. Let's make it quite soft as well for a soft edge, and then just click and spray, and it adds the bits that we've missed to the selection. And as we click over, it shouldn't actually select the skin there. If it does, you can see it's done it a little bit. Control Z to undo and take the tolerance down to something like 10%. Let's just click and spray again and see if we can do that. Yeah, that's working nicely. It's not going into the skin, even though the brush is overlapping the skin, but it is selecting and changing the colour like so. So I'm just going to catch up with all the bits that were missed on the initial colour replacement. Hold the spacebar down to move up and click again, and that should fill in those areas without tinting the girl around the skin areas too much. And it's getting the lace up here as well. If it does stray a little bit into the lace, don't worry, we can fix that a bit later. And just around the neckline as well, just to try and dye those. Control Z, of course, if you go too far, and then just keep on clicking and spraying to add a little bit more to the selection. So it's done quite a good job of getting the edge there without going into the paintwork at the background. So I'm going to just carry on clicking and tidying up bits that we've missed. And you will have problems here when you've got the paint on the paint as well as on the girl's dress, but we're going to tidy that up in the next part. I'm just going to try and get rid of as much as we can. You'll find these very light bits here don't actually change colour too much, so we're going to have to use another brush on those a bit later. But everything else, the lighter shades, should work quite nicely. You've got little hints here that we've missed. Okay, I'm not going to do this totally in real time, but I'm going to jump forward in time a little bit once I just finish tidying things up. There's a little bit of lace in here as well that we need to tint, like so, and just to the edge of the dress as well. And also behind there we've got a little bit of lace too, which kind of brings that into the selection. And that's not too bad actually. I'm just going to carry on tidying this up and I'll see you in just a second. Okay, we've added some of the extra bits that were missed in the initial selection using the colour replacement tool, but we've still got these highlights here that just won't be changed by the tool. So what we need to do is to paint those out using the ordinary brush tool, create a new layer, use the same foreground green colour we've got, and set this layer's blending mode to darken, and then that will just spray out the highlights without losing detail. So you can then quickly go and select all of those bits that weren't actually removed properly. If you think that it's too strong, the brush there, you can reduce the opacity of the layer a little bit just to bring back a hint of the texture detail. Take it down to about maybe 70, 68, something like that, and then you've still got that very fine detail showing up, but we're getting rid of those highlights at the same time. And then of course use the left square bracket to go and shrink it down to get a much smaller brush, and you can then get the finer detail on the lace down the bottom of the dress, like so. Okay, I'm just going to carry on doing that a little bit, and then I'll jump forward in time once I've finished tidying up the rest of it. Okay, I'm nearly there. I'm just darkening up some of this bit of lace that's been missed here. And the cool thing about darken, of course, is that any darker pixels won't actually take on the colour. I'm spraying here but nothing's happening, but when I go over these light highlights, it does darken them and change them to a green rather than a white. So that's a very cool way of fine-tuning your edit. See these bits here? These are very white. If I just click and spray over them, they go green without changing the lacy transparent bits there that are showing the natural skin tone below. So that's a quick way of getting a very effective fix there on our highlights and making sure that everything has been dyed green. Okay, I'm just going to turn this layer on and off so you can see there's the before, there's the after, and you can just see all those highlights are now under control and they've actually been dyed green as well. So what we can do when we finish that is just merge that one down by going to layer and merge down, and that gets rid of all of those highlights, so that we have a background copy layer and the original background layer. Next thing to do, of course, is to tidy up the problematic bits like this section here and also the paint on the wall, and of course we've got paint in her eyes as well, so all that needs to be sorted out in the next step.